Hey, this is Lori and apparently Milo with the Goodbye Good Girl podcast. Oh my gosh, I've just been on another podcast and he's like, "I'm bored. I want you to pet me." So there you go. I'll do that. But it's just you and me today. I want to talk to you about empowerment. Uh, I have a very unique view on empowerment. We always think that women need empowerment in the external, setting our boundaries, speaking truth to power, being confident. And we do. We need these things. We desperately need these things. The hitch is that we don't know how to do these things. And we're left with a lot of empowerment sort of expressions and ideas and rah rah, you can do it, you've got it, and know that you're worthy and things like this that sound really good, but leave us not knowing how to actually do it. We can get ourselves even charged up and go, I'm going to do this. The next time I talk to that boss that scares me, or that man that scares me, or that woman that scares me, we go, I'm gonna say this, I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna be awesome. And then we get to the moment and we back off, and then we feel bad about ourselves. That's not working, right? That's just not working. So as I just said on the podcast that I was just on, I said I don't believe in the power of change at all. And what I mean is, I don't believe that something that you can change, you can't change back. So I could change my mind, I could change it back. I'd rather transform my mind. I'd rather transform my emotional settings. I'd rather transform my being. Now, that doesn't mean to not be me, not at all. No. What it does mean is I become who I really am. We talk about this a lot in spirituality. We talk about you are one with that, and you are one with the divine, and you are made of the energy that creates worlds. And we have an instinctive, intuitive knowing that this is true. This is 100% true. And it frustrates the hell out of us because we don't know how to how to build that bridge from the spiritual good idea to practical spirituality. And the Goodbye Good Girl project is all about questioning anything that stops us from our freedom and our magnificence and our limitlessness and our power. Now, the feminine face of power is not power over. It's not like, let me smash you. The feminine power is power with, it's community power, it is the power to lift yourself up, it is the power to lift others, it is the fierce feminine, the fierce mothering, uh, just awesome stuff. And when we try to go the masculine way of all things, the toxic masculine, or the masculine only is by definition the toxic masculine, because it's not balanced with the feminine. Anything is not balanced is like an airplane is, it's going to hit the ground. It just is. And that's what we've been doing for so long. And that's why we're in the mess we're in right now with our country. The feminine face of power is one that gestates. It is one that grows and builds and flowers and blossoms. It's not one that pounds and that goes only for the goal and waits to be at the goal before acknowledging joy and self love and self appreciation and celebration of the steps that we've taken. There are no small steps. I wanted to say the small steps along the way, but there are no small steps. There are not. So empowerment, even on the external, is something that is born of a different understanding of who we are and how we can be in this world. Women in this culture, in this Western culture, are in jail cells with open doors. The problem is we don't know where the open doors are. We don't have any perception of them, any recognition of them. And there are two aspects to empowerment. And one of them I very briefly talked about, and I'll talk about it more, which is the external, your behaviors and how you show up, what you say, how you hold yourself, what you do, things like that. Sorry, my nose is itching because my cat. Blame Milo. The other part of your empowerment is actually your strongest part, and it is bigger than your human will, your human energy, your human effort. And it's your energetic. It's the energetic of you. When you walk into a room with full of people you don't know, somebody might come up and talk to you, while somebody else might take one look at you and go, I'm out of here. Or I'm going to go, I don't want to talk to her. I don't want to know her. Is that because they know you? No, you never met them before. Is that because one of our favorite things to misjudge ourselves on? Oh, he or she doesn't like the way I look. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not thin enough. I'm not young enough. I'm not dressed well enough. I'm not enough. You can't know. You can't know. But what you can know is that there's energy. Every single person, every single plant, every single insect, every single anything on this planet and any other planet is created of energy. That's what we're made of. That's it. It seems simple when I think about it. Like, oh my gosh, we're just energy. And that means I don't have to go and explain why this person was successful and this other person wasn't, because if it's as simple as they were energetically aligned with what they were doing, so it made it so much easier for the right people in the right circumstances to find them, then I understand that I just haven't been in alignment with my true emotional set points, my freedom, my authenticity, all of the different things that would put me into the flow with what it is that I want. If you've been in spirituality for a while, you will have heard this kind of thing. I'll mention Mike Dooley, the teacher who says thoughts become things. So he comes at this from the perspective of choose the right thoughts. And my definition of what that's about is that when you think a thing, it either strengthens you or it weakens you. So you can choose something that strengthens you instead of weakens you. If I say to myself, God, I never get these things right, that's not going to strengthen me. I can feel it in my body. If I go, wow, I just did that, but I don't always do it that way. Sometimes I'm a lot cooler about it. And suddenly I feel like I can sit a little taller. It's not just the power of words. It's the power of what the words mean to you emotionally. Now, what Mike teaches, which I think is so brilliant, is to spend just 4 to 10 minutes a day. Set your alarm on your phone and sit there, close your eyes, and imagine yourself in a scene that makes you happy. Imagine yourself in 5 different scenes that make you happy. What you want to do, the important part of this, is to be in the scene, not to be watching the scene, but to actually be in the scene and experiencing it and feeling it and aligning with all those incredibly cool emotions and then going, yes. So even if you're sitting alone in your room, you can still go, yes. You can still just like shout and go, this is awesome. Oh my God. You can even write the play yourself, right? You can be speaking to that person you want to fall in love with. You can be speaking to that boss with the perfect job that you're like, I am the right person for this job, and here's why. And they go, you know what, you really are an extraordinary person. Yeah, and I would blah, 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 right? You can write that whole scenario and feel it. And the more you do that, I'm so sorry, I keep scratching my nose. The more that you do that, the more that becomes part of your identity, because this is where empowerment really plants its feet. When you understand that you are empowerment, you are that, you are empowered, then you can't help but behave in the ways that support that empowerment, can you? Really can't. When you become aware of how you feel in in any interaction, you can switch the way that you're doing things. But first you have to have that awareness. First you have to say, okay, okay, um, what makes me feel strong and what makes me feel weak? Well, that person over there, they make me feel really weak. Okay. Well, that's really big to just say the entire person and everything they've ever done is what makes me weak. Can you say what it is about them that you perceive as threatening or overwhelming in some way? Well, yeah, first of all, he's my boss. He can fire me. Okay, hey, that's a valid point, right? A totally valid point. But what does that mean? That means that you have to be aware of the status of who you're talking to, what it will cost you to talk to them, but also what it will cost you not to. Start to understand that simply surviving this life is not an option. Nobody gets out of here alive. So while we're here, what do we want to be? What kind of quality of life do we want to have? And I don't mean I want to have enough money, but I mean what kind of emotional quality of life do you want to have? What kind of experience of every day would you like? Imagine I used to live in a lot of discomfort and a lot of misery and a lot of I'll only be happy when. And the when was, when I have the money, when I have the relationship, when I have this, when I have that. And I did that for a very, very, very long time. And I was forced into a situation in 2022 by myself, an emotional situation where I had to either heal or die. It was that dire. And so I found a way to heal. And what I found as a result of using that technique, which I call the 1% solution, what I found was that as I used this 1% solution, which is about a combination of shifting by 1%, by a tiny, tiny bit, my emotional set point, by letting in some light, just a pinprick of light, a pinprick of something that I could actually believe would be of some help, and then judging by paying attention to my emotions if it really did make a difference. And then focusing on that a little bit, going, wow, I just did that. I just changed something inside of me. Holy crap. And also aligning my mind, getting the hose of my brain unkinked to be able to understand things that I wanted to understand so that I could be happier in the now. I could be happier each day. Maybe not every second all day, but every day. To me, this is miraculous. I don't think many of us do this. And we need to. We need to for our own quality of life because we're here now. And I know for myself, I don't want to go through my life going, I'll be happy when. I'm happy now. Do I want more things, more experiences, more money, more whatever it is? Of course I do. But what I've learned is that I can't get to it from power over. There's power with and there's power over, right? The power over is the unbalanced masculine. There's no feminine in there. It's just I win and you lose. That's it. And we learn this. And we women, my God, we learn to imitate the guys. Now, the guys aren't faring, in a way, any better than we are. But as far as finding joy there, but at least they get the money, right? At least they get the money, they get the prestige, they get the respect, sort of. Not from us, maybe, because we see that this is not working. Power doesn't make me respect you. It doesn't. It's other things that make me respect you, like, who are you as a human? Do you care about other people besides yourself? Do you care even for the people you don't care for? You know? What's your perspective on animals and spirituality, and do you have an open mind for, if you're an atheist, can you make room for somebody who's not, and vice versa? You know? Those are the things that make me respect you or not respect you. Right? When it comes to real empowerment, it does live in how we act and how we demand respect. But when I say demand respect, I don't mean that you have to respect me, but I have to know inside myself that I deserve to be respected. And I have to heal any of the arguments that I might internally have about that. So if I say, I deserve to be respected, but there's something inside me that goes, yeah, well, I didn't respect that person, so maybe not. I have to answer that. I have to look at that, and I have to say, what was the situation? What should I be apologizing? Should I be apologizing to myself? Should I let myself off the hook for this? What was really going on? We have to stop being afraid to come into our power center, which is our emotions and our self-awareness. Your emotional set points, your awareness, and your ability to make choices around those, and to be aware of what moves you up the emotional scale, up that vibrational reality, to a different state of being, to a transformational place, because that stuff transforms you. That is what gets you into transformation. That's what gets you to be the kind of person that somebody will look at and go, well, she's just the kind of person who'll speak up for herself. You know, I will now. I didn't always. Not by a long shot. No. I went through a lot of therapy. My first therapist, she was awesome. And she would help me understand what I could say in an interaction that would help me. So here's an example. I was working at City Hall, and I had a boss who was useless, and she wanted me to do all of her work, and I was like, I want to tell her to blah, blinkety, blinkety, blankety, And the therapist said, I don't think you can say that. I'm like, I know, but gosh, just pisses me off. She goes, I know. So what could you say? So I said, I honestly don't know. I don't know how to express this stuff to her. She said, how about using an I statement to start with and then move on from there? She said, how about, I would love to help you, but I don't think I have time given what else I've been given to do. So I'm sorry, you're going to have to find someone else. That may not sound groundbreaking to you, or it may. It was groundbreaking for me, for sure. It gave me a place of power, of empowerment, where I could stand there and I could go, I just expressed my opinion without bitching her out, being angry, or otherwise exploding. That's elegant. It's an elegant solution. I would, I would, I would be able to help you. I forget what I said before, but I would be able to help you, but I can't. I've got all of these other things that I need to do. And so I think you'll have to find somebody else. You understand, I'm sure, that if that sentence didn't work, there has to be more that you can do. You have to start somewhere. You have to start in a very small way, a way that feels at least mostly comfortable to you. That's where you start your empowerment journey. Something that feels doable. If she had come back at me and said, nope, I want you to do it for me, I probably, I don't know what I would have said at the time, but now I would be like, okay, which part of this other work that you gave me do you want me not to do? You can approach things like this in that kind of straight ahead way, or if you are really scared of empowerment, really frightened of the results of what you might change in your self-expression, you can throw things in there that are very traditional, like, I'm sorry, right? We're very accustomed to that. Women are very accustomed to apologizing. Oh, I'm so sorry, I wish I could, but when really you want to tell her to take a hike. Oh, I'm sorry, I wish I could, but I have all these other things that you wanted done by today, and I just can't get them both done. I think you'll have to find somebody else. Pay attention to the fallout within you when you start your empowerment journey. Because your internal experience may be that you shake like a mofo. You may just be frightened to death, but you won't die. I don't say that lightly. We think we will die sometimes. We think if I come out of my norms, I will die. We really take it literally because we've planted our identity flag in our limitations. We've been trained to do that. We've been socialized to that. Think about it. When you go to school and you take a course, you know, and you get a D instead of an A, or a D instead of a B, and your teacher's like, well, we're going to have to work on that. You're going to have to get better at that thing you're not good at. And that's helpful when you're in grade school. You do want to learn how to write. You do want to learn how to read. But as you go along through your school career, it just gives you this idea that the only thing you can do to get better is work on your weaknesses, and that is a big fat lie. What you do as you grow up is you start focusing on what you're good at, and you do that. Start focusing on that stuff. Now you're cooking with gas. Heck yeah. Oh, yeah. Now you're cooking with gas. Awesome. And you feel good more often, right? If you're doing stuff you like to do and that you feel good about doing, you're not going to feel worse. You'll feel better. And feeling good makes you energetic. It makes you energized. It makes you see more positively. I don't like the idea of think positively in terms of like sticking a Band-Aid over a thought that you have. I do understand the incredible power of unfolding that negative thought into a higher, slightly 1% higher vibrational reality by adding in some sugar to the cake. Eventually, as you keep going, you not only have a cake, you might have some chocolate mousse. Like you just end up in a whole different place emotionally. It's amazing stuff. I want to invite you, by the way. I want to put together a 90-minute free workshop about your emotional energy to introduce you to how that works and how you can literally shift out of really deep emotional places. If you are willing to be aware emotionally and take in some alternative ways of thinking, if you can understand that your emotional body is what creates your vibrational being. It is what attracts or repels. It's what allows you to see or not see. I noticed many years ago that when I was depressed, my eyes would be more closed. Really interesting. So I would sit there when I was depressed and I would just open my eyes really wide and I would notice how much more I could see. I didn't know really how much that meant, but I knew it meant something big. I knew that it was like important in some way. When we align ourselves with our limitations, our pain, and we don't allow it to unfold in a positive direction, it becomes our identity. And what we don't seem to know, but you can come to know, is that all of the thoughts, all of the identity things that we have, they're just practiced. They're practices that we have undergone our whole lives. We've learned to think in certain ways and we've never challenged it. We didn't think we could, but you can. You totally can. So listen, if you're interested in being in that free workshop, drop me an email at goodgirlproject@gmail.com. That's goodbye goodgirlproject@gmail.com and let me know. And when I get that developed, I will alert you. How about that? Empowerment, your empowerment is your internal setting or settings. So think about whether you would like to change or you would like to be transformed. Because changing means you can always change back. And transformation means you're a badass. And you can be whatever and whoever and wherever you want. Okay? Love and moxie to you. Let me know if I can help. Bye now.